Free Comic Book Day 2024 Absolute Power Special Edition Issue 1, I think is the full title. But that's what we're going to talk about. Mark Waid, writing, of course, with Mikael Janin on the art. And I will say, because the art's generally pretty good, I will say there was the odd page where I almost thought a different artist had taken over. And I do wonder, despite this only being like 12 pages or whatever it is, I do wonder if maybe because he's also doing like a full issue of something else, this was a bit in the rushed side.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like it to me.
I felt it got more like Janin as it went. You know? So, because I thought, oh, maybe he's just doing the splash pages because we get to the one of what Dreamer has seen. Right? I don't want to spoil just yet. And I was like, oh, that's Mikael Janin. Like, you know, and then the rest of the book. But yeah, but it's still pretty solid, you know, for Janin, even Rush Janin, right?
Yeah, for sure. So I think, you know, there's a couple of details of this event that I'm annoyed about. Even though, generally speaking, I like where it's going. I like the Amanda Waller stuff. I like that it's building to things. This idea that Waller has secretly ended up owning all of the metahuman prisons. She owns Arkham Tower. She owns Iron Heights, Blackgate, all the major prisons in DC she owns. That's a really interesting bit. Clock King kind of like working for her and showing this guy Haywire around because he's been brought in. That's what the plot of this issue really is. It's Haywire has been brought in for some reason, which we'll get to.
And I like that Wade's still playing with his continuity, right? Not that it's separate or anything, but the last time we saw Haywire was in that Teen Titans Year 1, you know, messing around with the Terror Titans?
Yeah.
As the team is building. Right. So I like that Wade brought that back around here, you know, for him trying to build a team. And we see, you know, maybe he's joining Task Force 9 or 11, whatever that's called, X1. Whatever we're calling it.
Yeah. But what I'm getting at, though, just to get the negative things out the way, like having Failsafe be a part of this, like, was an instant kind of like, really? What? They're also referencing like what's going on in Green Arrow because Oliver's there for reasons that I don't know. Maybe you do because you've been reading Green Arrow.
No, because we're not there yet.
Oh, you're not there. Okay, fair enough. That makes sense. That's just a tease then. But like, I appreciate that Wade's playing ball with what's going on and he's tying into things that are elsewhere in DC Universe right now. He's done this before, of course, way back in the 2000s when he was one of the writers of 52 and he was doing things that tied into other books back then. He clearly knows how to do this and he'll do good things with it. I have no fear of that. But I will admit, this book starting with a panel of Failsafe did make me go, ugh.
That said, Failsafe has never looked better.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's a full page spread of Failsafe. I wasn't happy. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and I also like Wade, you know, I feel like, you know, maybe this wasn't his original plan. He's just playing with the cards he was dealt. Because just the way that he writes the whole Failsafe stuff to explain it to people that might not be reading Batman, right? Where he's you know, he's like, who are you and who are you people? Who is that robot? And Clock King's like, that's not just a robot. It's Failsafe. Think Batman crossed with the Terminator. It was like, boom, simple, done. We're good to go.
Yeah, you got people cut up. I think.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong. I think given what we've been taught about who Failsafe is, right? It does make sense to me that Failsafe would like Amanda Waller.
Yeah. Like
I do think there's a logic to that. I do appreciate that. I just don't like Failsafe's story that much in the main Batman comic, and that's why.
If we're like, this is a Batman drone that has gone rogue and is allied with Amanda Waller, cool. I don't need to get all into the Zerdar stuff and to get bogged down by that. And if that's the version that Wade's going to just play with, just right here, you know, Batman meets the Terminator.
Yeah.
Then I think it makes me feel a little bit better. Yeah.
So we don't know exactly what this is for, but Waller has been testing different electrical powered heroes or villains, I should say, and seeing what they can do. And Haywire is told to fire at this drone everything he's got. But it creates this feedback loop, and the reason why we're using Haywire here instead of, say, you know, someone more well known is because he dies. He actually pops like a pimple up against the glass, and they're like, shit, it didn't work again. Who's next on the list? And we see that they've already seemingly killed Jolt, Fire King, Zebra Man, and now Haywire. I'm not going to pretend to have heard of... Well, I've heard of Zebra Man. I've not heard of the other two, though.
Jolt feels oddly throwawayable. Like Wade could have just threw out a name.
He could have just made that up.
Superhero.
But at the same time, though, it wouldn't surprise me if there is some obscure character named Jolt.
100%. It's Mark Waid, after all.
Yeah.
But Zebra Man, I remember Zebra Man's powers being more teleportation. So that was interesting. So it's like, maybe it's not just... Because Fire King also doesn't strike me as...
It may be more energy-based than specifically electricity.
Or elemental-based, right? Like, we have, teleportation for, like, space, Jolt, Fire King's fire. Matter Master can probably be anything, and Dr. Phosphorus, we know what his gig is. So
yeah, Matter Master and Dr. Phosphorus are the next two on the list that have not been crossed out, just to sort of give the context for why you're saying them.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
So, yeah, and then Waller goes to Dreamer kind of stressed out and wants to know if Dreamer's seeing the future and if her plan's going to work. And Dreamer insists that she can't see anything, but then we see a great 2-page spread of all the Justice League in chains, led by Superman and Batman. Like Waller, whatever she's done, this is one. Like she's enslaved or imprisoned all the superheroes. And that's kind of the big tease here at the end.
If you look up above that too, you have who seem to be what the main villains are going to be, right? And they almost look like Amazos. Which
I'd say those look like Amazos.
Also plays into the Wade, World's Finest playbook that we had that arc about the Amazos, and Metamorpho and all that stuff. So very interesting.
Yeah, that makes sense. Failsafe comes and tells Waller that there's an extraterrestrial spacecraft coming in, and he thinks that it's got exactly what they require. So Waller, if this is meant to be Brainiac's ship, and that ties into what's going on in the House of Brainiac, maybe would be the most logical thing. But we'll find out, I'm sure. But that's pretty much where it ends. Yeah, I appreciate that this really feels like it's... because it references Beast World, House of Brainiac setting up some of the things for absolute power. It does kind of feel like they're trying to emulate that 2000s thing again, where back in the 2000s, where each event felt like it kind of set up the next one a little bit and felt like there was a sort of overall DC continuity, separate from all the ongoing books that were obviously just going consistently. But I appreciate that. And I like Beast World quite a bit. House of Brainiac has been surprisingly solid for the first 2 issues. So far. And hopefully I have faith in Mark Waid. So I mean, obviously there's not a ton to talk about here, but I thought it was at least a nice idea that Waller is really gearing up. She's collecting supervillains, and that's always been her MO, but she's doing it on a really big scale now. She's got more power than she's ever had before, and she's going to make her big play soon. So it did get me kind of hyped for the event. So on that level it worked. She's
never felt like more of a threat, she's making these big moves, big swings, and it's finally, it's nice that they're actually developing her too. She's not just that evil government agent using supervillains. So seems like she's a threat to the world. Yeah,
for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know if we rate this necessarily because it's only like a 10-page teaser. So it's a bit different. But like I say, I think mission accomplished in making me interested in the core things that it's doing. And I as much as like I'd rather not have Failsafe involved, I also kind of appreciate that Mark Waid's finding a way to fit other DC things right now into it, so it really feels like it's in current continuity. So, I think from an objective standpoint, I really appreciate that, but from a subjective standpoint, I would really prefer Failsafe not to be there, but, it is what it is.